Hey guys, what's up? I wasn't actually going to air this match, but it ended up being kind of interesting. I thought so. So this guy's running a really weird deck. He's running mono black, which we come to realize about halfway through. So I figured it might be worth putting up on the channel. Also, I'm trying different things with this build. Obviously, we got Kozilek deck in here now, which is not particularly a great idea for this build, because obviously if he hits the graveyard from anywhere, we shuffle it back in. But I've been noticing that I get a lot of mana out, so I figured that's something that I could tutor for, and then I get the card draw and stuff like that. He's probably not going to stay in, but it's just something that I was messing around with a little bit. I wanted to see a little more on how that would work out. It doesn't see any play in this episode, so I don't think it's going to stay in here, but I thought it'd be a little bit of fun just kind of messing around with that. So my opponent's a little bit slower here. He doesn't really have too much to do early game, which is fine for us because we had so many slow lands. So we're going to try and muddle through, figure out what we can get going. I'm not particularly enthused with this hand because I'm down mana. You know, I can't play my Graveborn Muse. He plays the Liliana Spectre, though, which is an amazing break for me because I can get rid of this friggin' Kozilek deck and just get it back in the pile, and maybe we'll see it later because I don't want to hold on to that thing for the whole match. Obviously, it doesn't make any difference at this point because, you know, in your first hand, you would want to have something else, something that's, you know, an actual playable in your hand, and we don't have playables in exchange for losing that guy. But anyway, I don't miss him at all. He's in the pile. Maybe we'll see him later. Like I said, it's something more for us to tutor for in the future than really worry about right now. Our opponent's gonna pretty much keep on tempo here. It's not necessarily an aggro build, but they're making their land drops and they're hitting the points that they want to hit, so they're coming in with 3 damage there. We're at 17. I'm not too worried about it just yet. I've got a lot of card draw in my hand. And this guy runs into some trouble. So we don't think he's mono black yet. I haven't arrived at that conclusion just yet. But we will as soon as we see part of his removal suite. And we're going to go ahead and move to his turn. He's got 5 cards in hand, and with the 2 board wipes in hand, I really want to see him use all those cards. I want to see him down to 1 or 2 cards in hand before I use that first planner cleansing. But I don't think we necessarily get that. I don't think that necessarily happens. I don't think we're that lucky. But this guy does go ahead and utilize this dead weight to make it a 1/1, which I'm confused about until he uses the second dead weight, in which case I'm super happy because we just ate 2 cards out of his hand, which is amazing. He did kill the Graveborn Muse to stop the 1 card draw there, but oh god, 2 cards for that. The dead weight, man. It's great against the aggro builds, but I don't think it's necessarily fantastic against what he's facing right here. Me bringing everything up right here is me realizing that he's running mono black, which is interesting. I need a land so that I can go ahead and plan or cleanse. I want to have that on hand in case I need to do it, and we get that. We already have all the white sources that we need, but we go ahead and get the 6th land, and we're pretty good right now. I'm going to go ahead and hold these cards in my hand for after the plan or cleanse so we can start getting some stuff going on there. But it's not too big of a deal. Checking my graveyards, and he plays this guy, which is a 6/4. I'm more than happy to plan or cleanse at this point because I have the second one in hand. Maybe a little premature there on the cleansing. We probably could have waited a little bit, maybe got some more utility out of it, but I am going to go ahead and bust that this turn because I just have so much in my hand that I can play next turn. With the 6 mana, I can play absolutely every card in my hand. He's only got 3 cards in hand. I'm hoping that he won't have any playables and that we can just kind of get a bunch of momentum right now and rush him. I guess I'm showing what mana I have. God only knows. So yeah, and luck would have it, he has no playables here, but with the 5 mana up, I obviously think that he has removal. The Seance is really interesting in this point because it's going to recycle a bunch of that card draw. So I'm feeling pretty good about seancing and doing Wayfinder until I play Seance and then I can't do fucking shit because my mana's all tapped like a jackass. Didn't realize it, and when I'm on the clicks, I think it's like left control or something stupid like that. So I'm frowning from ear to ear right now because I really wanted Wayfinder out there so that maybe we'd have like a Pelican Worm or something in the yard and figure it out that way. We draw a second Seance, which is an interesting draw because we do have that second Planar Cleansing in hand as well. It's not a terrible draw by any means. The lucky thing with having this guy out is that I'm going to be able to sack Seanced creatures to it, so I don't really have to worry about him drawing any cards. But, of course, it is going to be doing a fair amount of damage to me, so I don't like that in particular. So we're going to go ahead and get the card draw train running, keep drawing cards. I mean, I have a lot of ways to get stuff into the yard, which is amazing because I have the Seance. So, you know, it's really a dealer's choice at this point of what cards I want to put out there. We're going to go ahead and get as many cards in the yard as possible. We're really looking for a Pelican Worm or something like that to try and get my life back up to snuff. We're just going to go ahead and drop another one of these. I probably could have done the Wayfinder, but I like the 3 damage out. That way if he decides to bash in, and there's the Pelican Worm, but that way if he decides to bash in, we might be able to stabilize by doing the 6 damage to him. I'd obviously gain the 7 life, so he's only going to be doing, well, he's not even going to be doing 5 damage to me. He's going to be taking 2 damage per, or I'm going to be gaining 2 life off this play. So I'm looking around, you know, you got the Pelican Worm, I got the card draw. Pelican Worm's good for this because I have to sack it out, and I'll get to draw that card. So that's why I did this. I gain 7 life, I sack out the Pelican Worm, you know, I gain the card from it as well. So we're going to go ahead and sacrifice the creature, pick the Pelican Worm, it hits the yard, I get to draw a card. I'm pretty happy with that play. I mean, there's other stuff we could have done. I mean, one Doubling Season's in the yard already, so I'm not sure Doubling Season's going to go off. It's entirely possible that the next Doubling Season will hit the yard as well, which sucks. We have the Seance in hand, so I'm not afraid to Planar Cleanse here. I'm pretty happy with what this guy's doing. The Nightmare out there is a card that I don't really want to deal too much with. He's got 3 cards in hand, though, so I am scared about the Planar Cleanse that could be happening here. So what I decided to do is go ahead and try and get more stuff in the yard. Since I have that Seance in hand, I can Planar Cleanse and then use that Seance on my next turn, see what goes on. Just a huge pocket of land. I'm really glad that I got through this because that would have been detrimental to my health. And then we still draw another land. That means there was 5 lands all in a row right there, which is kind of crazy. Checking out my yard really quick, trying to keep a handle on what we got going on. I'm going to drop a slow land right there because I am going to Planar Cleanse this turn. I'm pretty confident in what's going to be happening here because we do have the Seance. We don't have a ton of ways to abuse it in the yard. We don't have that Doubling Season, but we've got a lot of good stuff going on for us. And if you remember, he didn't have any playables before when he had 3 cards. I think he's been top decking what he's been playing. Unless he had, you know, obviously he could have had the Nightmare in hand and been unable to play it earlier. But I'm pretty confident in the fact that these 3 cards in his hand are probably removal or land. So we go ahead and we wipe the board up, we say go, and we see what he can do with 4 cards and 6 mana. It's just a nervous part. It's why I'm checking his yard to see what he has in there, potential for what he could drop on us. But he moves to end step, so potentially I was correct in what I said there. Absolutely the dopest draw I've seen in my entire life because I get to drop the Doubling Season and the Seance all in one turn. Pretty much won this match already. There's not a whole lot this guy can do, except for the fact that there's not anything crazy in my yard just yet, which is an upsetting turn of events. But with both the Doubling Season and the Seance out there, and with him being mono black, he's got absolutely no way to deal with that. We're going to wrap this up fairly quickly. I'm going to go ahead and start drawing 2 cards. I'm going to go ahead and send out these walls so that I can get that card draw going on. Just a Guild Gate there, which doesn't do too much to us. And we're going to be further proven right because he's going to go ahead and use Tribute to Hunger here, which is the removal spell. I figured he had the removal suite in hand. As long as we select this one on the right, that's going to be the one that came out from the Seance, not the one from the Doubling Season. We draw a Closey, which is, I think, pretty cool because I think I'm going to actually get to play it. But obviously, circumstances will take us far away from playing that card, which is unfortunate. I really wanted to see if it got play, if it would be a good card or not, but I don't know. It's probably not that great. We're sitting here. I go ahead and do the Graveborn Muse thing. Get that guy out there. Go ahead and say yes, because I get 2 of them, which is fine. I don't have to pay any life for him right now, and so the reason Kozilek doesn't see play right here is that we end up drawing a Grizzlebrand that we can straight up play. And we would have had to wait a turn for him. So, I mean, this is about over. I can spend the 7 life, draw the 7 cards. I do only have 25 cards left in the deck, and there's not really much else that I need. Now, I don't need anything right now because I just need the Vizkopa Guildmage on the next turn because it'll have 2 triggers. I'll be able to do the 7 damage from him, which would be, it's lethal even if he was at 20, because we'll have both of those triggers up. And that's why I don't select it. You're going to see that all play out in just like 50 seconds here. But that's why I don't select anything on his turn, because if I have 2 Vizkopa Guildmages out there, both with their second ability triggers stacked, I'm going to go ahead and wipe him out no matter what he gets to. He ulcerates, which I'm trying to think if that would help. It wouldn't have helped him because he still would have died because I have both triggers on the stack, so it doesn't matter. Losing that life really sucks. Ulcerate's a good card, in limited formats especially, as a removal spell, and against those aggro decks, again, it's good, but this is not necessary. I mean, this is a heavy hitter deck. It's not an aggro deck, so a lot of this guy's removal was proven useless. And here's going to come to fruition what I was talking about last turn. We're going to go ahead and get 2 Vizkopa Guildmages. We'll be able to utilize their second ability twice, and that's 7 damage. Yeah. I'm trying to keep up with what's going on the screen here and explain it at the same time. But yeah, he obviously sees what's about to happen. Just one of them would have almost been enough now that he was at 15. But obviously the 2 triggers is going to be more than enough. And we're just going to fly right across the field, gain a life, and kill him all at once. Even if he had had somebody with reach or somebody with flying because he's the black guy, we still would have killed him. So just from the 2 life gain trigger. Actually, that only would have been 14 damage, so we would have had 1 life. Anyway, you guys, thanks a lot for watching. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and I will see you all tomorrow.